folks, and welcome back to another Pinal Prep Spotlight brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. We got to give a big welcome back to David. In case you guys saw the previous episode last week, Joey wasn't all too thrilled to be about here, so very happy to have David back. And jumping into things like we did last week, we gave you guys our basketball predictions for the season. Now we're going to be doing that with soccer, starting with the boys. David, who do you kind of have your eyes on this season?
Well, right now I have one team that I'm looking at, but first off, I'm so glad to be back, and I'm sure you're happy to be back. You missed me so much, obviously, but let's get into it with. I'm starting with Santan Foothills boys soccer. This team was a team that made the play-in last year, went up against a tough ALA Gilbert North team, and just weren't able to get it done, but they are battlers. They are a strong team that are always going to put their best foot forward, and they're always going to be a team that's going to compete with anybody that they can. They're a scrappy group, and they did lose some senior talent last year, like any program. They have to restock a little bit, and they've done so. They have a good core of young guys that are looking to build up a little bit more and kind of get into those roles that those seniors held last year. They went 5-1 last year, but they still made the play-in, and they're already off to a good start this year. They have 2 wins, maybe against some, opponents that aren't going to give them the best fight, but at the same time, if you're building that confidence up early in the season, that's going to help you out for the rest of the year. So I really like this group, and it starts right now with Gabe Silvas. He is a junior who had a really good sophomore season last year. He scored about 7 to 10 goals last year for them, so he's been a big contributor starting out early, and he's going to definitely move into an even more prominent role this year. I think he's definitely going to be the guy going forward for them. Defense has been something that they've worked on, I know, for the past year or so. They really want to make sure they're honing in on the back end and making sure they're not giving up easy looks at the goal and everything like that. But this is an aggressive team. They like to attack, and they like to be strong at the opposing net, and Silvas is going to be a huge part of that. He's going into his junior year. He's growing up a little bit more, getting a little bit stronger, and he's definitely going to be someone that we're going to have to keep our eye on going in because, with 3A soccer, it's a little bit difficult to kind of gauge, who could be the top teams, and especially with here in Pinal County. But Santan Foothills is definitely one that I'm going to have my eyes on this year, and I think they could, even progress even further if they're able to have that young talent step up to the competition.
All right, so keeping things in the 3A conference, we got to talk about our other playoff experience teams, and that's ALA Ironwood and Coolidge. Coolidge is kind of in a similar situation as Santan Foothills. They're kind of in that reload mode. They lost a lot of senior talent from last year, but they also have a few guys coming back who do have that playoff experience. Head coach Tane Ferguson, he's just trying to figure out who fits where, just trying to, put together this whole puzzle piece. But so far, Coolidge is looking pretty good. They are 2-0 in regular season games. Both of them were 7-1 wins. The one against Santa Cruz and the other one against Fountain Hills. So, I'm expecting these Bears to... there's going to be a bit of growing pains with the new guys coming in, but overall, I see them having a successful season. Talking about ALA Ironwood, it's kind of hard to tell where they'll be at the end of the season. Right now, they're 3-0, but they do have a new head coach, and it's kind of a complete turnover as far as the roster goes. A lot of guys who weren't on the team last year, but hey, they're 3-0. Something's working for them, and we're going to have to wait and see, once the later half of the season comes around to see, where this Warriors team is. Real quickly, a wild card I got to throw out there is Florence. The past couple of years, Florence has really struggled, but right now they have a new head coach in Ben Curtis, and the bright side here is that he was the head coach for the soccer team at the lower levels, junior high, and a lot of these guys played for him back then. And in middle school, junior high, whatever it is out there in Florence, they won a championship. So, hey, if these guys can put everything together like they did a couple of years ago, hey, this Gopher team is going to be one we really have to look out for. Transitioning over to the girls' side, David, who are we looking at?
Well, I got the opposite of what you just said. I have ALA Ironwood girls and Coolidge girls. Starting with ALA Ironwood, they lost some pieces, some senior pieces going into this year, and they made it to the play-in last year. But this team is building that foundation. We hear from coaches all the time. They're trying to build a foundation for future success, and that foundation has been built right now. They have really good stability in their coaching tree. They have a really strong coaching alignment there out in ALA Ironwood, and they have some good, solid players. And two players that I want to keep an eye on them that are kind of a difference in, just kind of styles, but they work really well together. And that's Kylie Ryan. First off, she's a striker, a sophomore this year, or a sophomore, last year. Or excuse me, no, she was a freshman last year, sophomore this year, scored 14 goals as a freshman, and she's been a really solid piece for them that they kind of found us out of the blue and has really coming to her own very quickly. She's a very quiet and just plays the game at her own pace, and that's a perfect person to kind of just step up and just kind of be that silent killer that you want on the soccer field. And then, the other side, you have Ashley Stewart. She's a senior now, stepping into a captain's role, and she is the vocal leader for this team. She is going to be the person that's going to make this team go. She's going to back up what she says with her own play, but also kind of be that vocal leader that you need on this team to keep everyone, on track. And, they made the play-in last year, like I said, and this team is definitely, I think, on a path that they could possibly make it out of the play-in. It just depends on what other teams are doing around them and if they can kind of keep their wits about them and find those pieces and use those pieces to their best their best foot forward with Kylie Ryan and Ashley Stewart and others as well. Moving on to Coolidge, the Bears play an aggressive style of soccer, and that's exactly how they want to play. They want to be able to kind of, keep their opponents on their toes and make them uncomfortable and score at will and try to be aggressive and be at the net, and that's exactly how they want to do it. They want to play this aggressive style that is going to keep opponents honest, and it works so far for them. Alyssa Hernandez is someone that is someone who's going to be a big proponent of the Bears season so far. She's a strong scorer for them. She had a really good showing in the Battle of Ironwood tournament this last couple weeks or so. She's definitely someone that they're going to want to kind of move forward with and be that person that they need to kind of be the main scorer on this team. And they've worked well with their defense as well. They've been trying to make sure that they're kind of stocked up in the backfield and making sure that they're not, giving up easy passes and making sure that they can have the season that they want with kind of having that oh my gosh, I'm losing my focus here. Kind of have that good connection between offense and defense, and they're going to have a really solid season if they can keep that eyes up for them.
All right, now for me, we got to make a big jump all the way to our highest conference in 6A and talk about Maricopa. Maricopa is kind of that team that steadily is always a playoff contender or close to being in the play-in tournament. Head coach Courtney Kellners has done a fantastic job for the Rams. The past couple of seasons, he's been juggling, coaching both the boys and the girls, and this year is no different. Rams so far are 1-1 in the regular season, but my biggest question here is, what does this Rams team look like without McKinley Hacker? McKinley Hacker has finally graduated. She is one of those athletes that, it seems like she was just at Maricopa forever, and she was such an impactful player. So the Rams are going to have to see who can fill in that role, scoring, whether it's one person or a couple of forwards. But so far, Emma Leigh Hunt is their top scorer. Again, early on in the season, Maricopa's just 1-1. So with all the rest of our teams, we're going to have to wait and see what happens after Christmas break ends and they just come back after this lull with nothing really going on. David, is there anything else you want to add overall?
I think we still have a lot of underrated talent here when it comes to soccer in Pinal County. We have some teams that we're definitely going to have to keep our eyes on and make sure that they're being those teams that we see being those top teams to look out for. But, there's some talent. There's diamonds under the rough everywhere. And I think that we're definitely going to see that this season, and we're going to see some surprises. And hopefully some teams kind of make it past that barrier of the play-in and can possibly compete for some more playoff appearances. I think we're going to have a good season of soccer this year in Pinal County.
All right, and with that, we are wrapping up this year with Pinal Prep Spotlight. We are going to go on a bit of a hiatus, but we will be back in 2023, right? That's the year we're going into, so yeah, be sure to tune in and follow along for all your local sports coverage.